The Calthor Empire had watched Earth for centuries, quietly studying its people. They had known the humans were a primitive species, full of raw potential, but lacking the advanced technologies that the Calthor had. From their ships in the stars, they saw humanity grow, struggle, and fight among themselves, but they never considered humans a real threat. The Calthor were strong, their fleets powerful, their soldiers unmatched. They had conquered entire galaxies without breaking a sweat. So when the Calthor finally decided to invade Earth, they expected a swift victory. In the vastness of space, their warships descended upon the blue and green planet. The skies darkened as they tore through the atmosphere like dark steel behemoths. The people of Earth watched, unaware at first, but then the news spread quickly. Massive ships, unlike anything they had ever seen, filled the sky. Some tried to flee, but many gathered in fear, wondering if this was the end. As the Calthor landed, they made their presence known. They broadcasted messages to the humans, speaking in a language that only a few understood. They told the people of Earth that they were now part of the Calthor Empire, that resistance would be futile. But there was no response. No one bowed, no one surrendered. Instead, the world stood silent. For the first time in history, humanity did not fear. They knew the Calthor did not understand their true power. Beneath the surface of Earth, far from the prying eyes of the invaders, something stirred. It had been dormant for centuries, hidden in the deepest caves, forgotten by most. It was a creature of legend, the apex predator of Earth, a beast so powerful it was said that nothing could stand against it. Some believed it was a myth, a tale, told to frighten children. But the truth was far darker. The humans had never truly forgotten the creature. It had been waiting for the right moment. As the Calthor began their invasion, they encountered no resistance. The people of Earth had no armies to match the Calthor's technology, no ships to challenge their dominance in the sky. But the invaders were unprepared for what happened next. The ground began to shake. The first tremors were subtle at first, but they grew stronger with each passing minute. The Calthor commanders on the ground frowned, sensing something was wrong. They were too focused on Earth's cities, too confident in their superiority. They didn't notice the signs, the tremors growing stronger, the animals fleeing in terror. Suddenly, the ground cracked open in the heart of a forest. The Calthor soldiers turned in shock as a huge, monstrous shape emerged from the earth. It was the apex predator, the creature of legend. Towering over the trees, its muscular form rippling with power, its eyes glowing with an ancient predatory intelligence. The Calthor soldiers opened fire, their weapons unleashing beams of energy that should have reduced the beast to nothing, but the creature was unharmed. It roared in fury, a sound so loud it shook the ground beneath their feet. The Calthor soldiers hesitated for just a moment, long enough for the beast to strike. In one swift movement, the apex predator tore through the Calthor soldiers, its claws slashing through armor and flesh alike. The aliens were fast, but the creature was faster. It moved with a savage grace, each strike precise, each movement deadly. The Calthor forces, though technologically advanced, were helpless against the raw power of this ancient predator. Panic spread through the invaders as they realized the mistake they had made, underestimating Earth. Back in the cities, humans watched in disbelief as the news spread of the creature's appearance. It was everywhere. On screens, on the streets, people gathered, staring at the images of the creature tearing through the Calthor. There was no fear in the human hearts, only awe. Some whispered that this was Earth's final defense. Others believed it was a sign that humanity had finally found its strength. The creature had always been part of Earth's history, but now it was part of its future. And as it fought, it seemed to be calling out to the humans, showing them the path they could take. The Calthor, however, were not so easily dissuaded. They were no strangers to war, and this setback only fueled their desire for victory. They quickly regrouped, launching their more advanced weaponry at the creature. But it was like throwing stones at a mountain. The beast continued its rampage, and the Calthor forces soon realized that their technology alone could not win them the war. The creature was no mere beast. It was a symbol of Earth's resilience. At that moment, the humans knew something that the Calthor did not. Earth had been a cradle for life, a planet that had created creatures of unimaginable power. The Calthor were not the first to believe that Earth was weak. They wouldn't be the last, but they would be the first to experience its wrath. And so, while the alien invaders watched in horror as their forces crumbled under the beast's assault, the humans began to mobilize. They didn't need to fight like the Calthor. They didn't need to have advanced ships or endless weapons. They had something more, something the Calthor could never understand. Humanity had the will to survive. They had the strength to stand up, to protect their home, and to fight back. The Calthor had thought they were invincible, but Earth's greatest weapon was not just the apex predator, it was humanity itself. As the first of the Calthor's ships fell to the Earth, burning in the atmosphere, the humans cheered. They had no idea how long this would last, or what other horrors the Calthor might bring. But they knew one thing. They would not go down without a fight. They would show the universe the true meaning of power. The apex predator was no ordinary creature. It had been born from the heart of Earth itself, a being shaped by centuries of natural evolution, designed for one thing: survival. Its eyes, glowing with an ancient intelligence, scanned the environment, sensing the movement of the alien invaders who were foolish enough to land on its home planet. The creature was not just a force of nature, it was the very spirit of Earth, a reminder of the untamed power that still thrived in the world, waiting to be unleashed. The Calthor forces quickly regrouped after their initial shock. They had never faced anything like this before. They had encountered countless species across the galaxy, each with its own strengths and weaknesses, but nothing prepared them for the sheer ferocity of Earth's apex predator. Their weapons, designed to deal with the most dangerous of creatures, barely scratched the beast's tough hide. It was as if the creature had been waiting for them, waiting for a challenge. And now, it was on the hunt. In the streets of Earth's cities, people watched in disbelief as the battle unfolded. News stations broadcasted live footage of the apex predator's rampage, tearing through the alien forces like paper. The air was filled with excitement and hope. For the first time in a long while, humanity had something to fight for. A creature that represented their strength, a symbol that they were not powerless. The people cheered, but they knew this was just the beginning. The Calthor would not give up easily. On the ground, the Calthor were quick to respond. They activated their war machines, sending their elite soldiers and automated drones to confront the beast. They used every weapon at their disposal, launching blasts of energy that exploded on impact, creating massive craters in the Earth's surface. The ground shook with each explosion, but the apex predator barely flinched. Its thick, scaled hide absorbed the blasts, and it roared in defiance, charging forward like a living storm. The humans, meanwhile, had quickly organized. They knew they had no chance against the advanced technology of the Calthor, but they did not need to fight on their terms. Instead, they used their knowledge of the land, their ability to adapt, and the power of the beast to turn the tide. Military leaders across the world coordinated their efforts, directing troops to strategic points where they could assist the predator. Some used drones to scout the area, while others set traps to slow the advancing Calthor forces. But it wasn't just the humans who were preparing to fight. Earth's animals had also begun to play their part. The Calthor underestimated the connection humans had with their planet. They had always viewed Earth as a primitive, isolated world, a place where life was chaotic and uncontrolled. But the humans knew better. They had lived in harmony with Earth's creatures for millennia, understanding their instincts, their behavior, and now those creatures were ready to defend their home. As the apex predator tore through the Calthor soldiers, the world's wildlife responded. Birds took flight, filling the skies with a chaotic swarm, confusing the alien invaders. Wolves, lions, and other predators began to move through the forests and mountains, attacking the Calthor from all sides. The aliens found themselves surrounded, their technology and strength unable to deal with the raw, untamed fury of Earth's creatures. The Calthor had been prepared to conquer, but they had not been prepared for Earth's wildlife, a force more powerful than they had ever imagined. The battle raged on for days. The apex predator moved like a shadow, striking swiftly and without mercy. Its speed and agility allowed it to outmaneuver the Calthor, while its sheer strength tore through their armor and weapons. The Calthor attempted to organize their forces, but they were no match for the predator's unrelenting assault. The more they fought, the more they realized that they were losing. They had underestimated humanity, but more importantly, they had underestimated the true power of Earth itself. While the predator hunted, humans across the world were rallying together. They did not sit idly by, watching as the battle unfolded. Instead, they organized, fought, and adapted. Many of Earth's best minds worked tirelessly to develop new strategies and tactics, coordinating with the military to launch counterattacks against the Calthor. They used their knowledge of their own world to their advantage. The Calthor had advanced technology, but they did not understand Earth like the humans did. One of the key strategies humans employed was their ability to blend into the environment. While the Calthor were formidable, their technology made them predictable. Humans, on the other hand, were able to hide, adapt, and strike when the time was right. They used the terrain to their advantage, using caves, forests, and mountains as natural barriers. They set traps and ambushes, causing chaos among the Calthor ranks. The aliens, once so confident in their superiority, now found themselves on the defensive, struggling to keep up with the unpredictable nature of Earth's resistance. The human. Resistance was not without its losses, but they were determined. Every time a Calthor soldier fell, every time one of their ships was destroyed, the humans grew stronger. The people of Earth realized that they were not fighting alone. They were fighting alongside the apex predator, the symbol of their survival. The creature had become a rallying point, a living reminder that Earth had the power to defend itself. And it was not just the apex predator that gave humans strength, it was their unity, their willingness to fight for their planet. Despite the setbacks, the Calthor refused to back down. They were a proud species, and their leaders were not willing to accept defeat. They sent reinforcements, hoping to tip the balance in their favor. But as the battle continued, they began to realize that they had made a grave mistake. Earth was not a world to be conquered. It was a world to be respected. The Calthor had come here expecting an easy victory, but they had awakened something far more dangerous than they had anticipated. They had awakened the true power of Earth. In the midst of the chaos, the apex predator's presence loomed over the battlefield. It was everywhere. Its roar echoed through the forests, its shadow crossed the skies, and its claws tore through the alien forces. It was the embodiment of Earth's will to survive. The Calthor may have had advanced technology, but they did not have the heart, the spirit, or the resilience of humanity. As the day came to an end, the humans knew they were winning. The Calthor were faltering, and Earth's forces were growing stronger. The apex predator was not the only weapon Earth had. It was a symbol, a reminder that humanity would not go down without a fight. The Calthor would soon realize the truth. Earth was not a place to be conquered. It was a place to be feared. The war between the humans and the Calthor had reached a turning point. The apex predator, once a myth, was now the heart of Earth's resistance. It had become more than just a creature. It was a symbol of Earth's power and humanity's unyielding will to fight. As the Calthor forces continued to struggle against the humans, the apex predator seemed to grow stronger, more relentless. Its roar echoed through the forests and mountains, a constant reminder to the invaders that they had underestimated Earth. The Calthor had never faced anything like this before. They were a technologically advanced empire, known for their strength and precision. They had conquered countless planets without breaking a sweat, but now they found themselves on the defensive. Every time they thought they had the upper hand, the predator would strike again, tearing through their soldiers and machines with ease. Their weapons, no matter how powerful, could not defeat the creature. It was as if the beast was invincible, a force of nature that could not be stopped. The apex predator was not alone in its rage. As it tore through the Calthor's ranks, the Earth's wildlife joined the fight. Animals that had once lived in peace were now fighting back. Wolves, tigers, and bears charged at the Calthor, working together as if they had always known this moment would come. The Calthor soldiers were caught off guard by the sudden onslaught of Earth's creatures. Their technology was powerful, but it was no match for the raw power of nature. They had underestimated Earth's strength, and now they were paying the price. Humanity had been preparing for this moment, and they had learned quickly how to adapt. The military had rallied, coordinating with the wildlife and using their knowledge of the land to launch surprise attacks. They knew the Calthor had advanced technology, but the humans had something more powerful, their ability to think, adapt, and work together. The humans were not just fighting with weapons. They were fighting with their intelligence, using their understanding of Earth's natural world to their advantage. One by one, the Calthor war machines fell. The apex predator tore through them, its claws raking across armor and technology, its powerful jaws snapping through metal like it was paper. The invaders could not keep up. The predator was everywhere, and it seemed to be growing more powerful with each passing hour. The Calthor commanders, once confident in their ability to conquer Earth, now found themselves scrambling for answers. Their fleet was being destroyed, their soldiers were falling, and they had no idea how to stop the beast. The human resistance, meanwhile, was becoming more organized. The people of Earth had rallied behind the apex predator, using it as a symbol of their fight for survival. They knew that the predator was not just a weapon. It was a message to the Calthor. Earth would not be conquered. The humans had seen what the Calthor had done to their planet, and they were not going to stand by and let it happen. They had already shown the Calthor that they were capable of more than just survival. They were capable of victory. The predator's rage was unstoppable. Its every movement was precise, its every strike a death sentence for the Calthor. But it was not just the predator that was causing fear among the invaders. It was the humans, too. The Calthor had expected to face an uncoordinated, weak resistance, but they were met with a force far greater than they had anticipated. The humans were fighting with everything they had, and they were not backing down. The battle continued for days, with no clear victor in sight. The Calthor were relentless, but the humans were equally determined. The apex predator was a constant presence, its primal fury a testament to Earth's strength. It seemed to be everywhere, hunting the invaders, tearing through their ranks with ease. The Calthor tried everything, missile strikes, energy blasts, even deploying their most advanced weapons, but nothing could stop the beast. The predator was simply too powerful. The Calthor commanders, desperate to end the battle, decided to send in their elite troops, soldiers specially trained to fight the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. These were the best of the best, armed with the most advanced weapons available to the Calthor. They believed that with their superior training and equipment, they could finally bring the predator down. But even their best soldiers were no match for the beast. The Calthor elite soldiers engaged the predator in a fierce battle. They surrounded it, using their weapons to try and weaken it. They fired energy blasts at its hide, but the predator barely flinched. It was like the creature was made of stone, impervious to their attacks. The battle raged on for hours, the Calthor soldiers growing increasingly frustrated as their weapons had no effect. The predator fought back with deadly precision, its claws and teeth tearing through their ranks. One by one, the Calthor elite soldiers fell. The humans, watching from a distance, knew that the apex predator was their last hope. They had already lost so much. Cities were in ruins, entire populations had been displaced, but they were not going to lose this fight. The predator was a symbol of everything they had fought for, and they would not let it be destroyed. The humans continued to fight, pushing back the Calthor forces, using every advantage they could find. They fought with determination, their spirits unbroken by the constant attacks. As the days passed, the predator's rage only seemed to grow. It was as if the more the Calthor fought, the more the beast became enraged. It was not just a fight for survival. It was a fight for justice. The predator was a living reminder that Earth was not weak, that its people were not helpless. The Calthor had come to Earth thinking they could conquer it, but they had underestimated the strength of the planet and its people. Now they were learning a painful lesson. Earth would not bow to anyone. With each passing hour, the Calthor forces grew weaker. The apex predator continued its rampage, and the human resistance was gaining ground. The Calthor, who had once believed they were invincible, now found themselves on the edge of defeat. The humans were proving that they had more than just physical strength. They had the will to survive, the strength of spirit, and the power to fight back. As the sun set on yet another day of battle, the humans knew that victory was within reach. The Calthor were on the retreat, their forces scattered, their machines broken. The apex predator had not only become Earth's greatest weapon, it had become a symbol of hope. The humans had shown that no matter how powerful the invaders were, they could not defeat Earth's will to survive. And as long as the humans and the predator fought together, the Calthor would never stand a chance. The battle had been raging for weeks. The apex predator, once a creature of legend, had proven itself to be Earth's mightiest weapon. The Calthor, once confident in their ability to conquer, now found themselves on the defensive. Their fleets were in disarray, their soldiers were falling, and their technology, no matter how advanced, seemed powerless against Earth's wild, untamed forces. But despite the destruction they had caused, the Calthor refused to accept defeat. Their leaders were proud, their armies vast, and their belief in their own superiority unwavering. As their forces began to retreat, they gathered for one final, desperate attempt to end the battle. They would not leave Earth until they had destroyed the creature that had become a symbol of humanity's defiance, the apex predator. The Calthor commanders, realizing that the predator was the key to humanity's strength, decided to send their most powerful warrior to face it. This was no ordinary soldier. This was the leader of the Calthor elite, an alien known for his unmatched combat skills and his strength that rivaled even the mightiest of beasts. He was armed with a weapon that could cut through the toughest materials, a blade that could slice through steel as easily as a knife through butter. The Calthor believed that if anyone could defeat the apex predator, it would be him. On the battlefield, the apex predator roared as it tore through the Calthor ranks. Its claws were coated in the blood of its enemies, its eyes burning with a fierce determination. The creature knew that this was not just another battle, it was the final stand. The humans, watching from their hidden positions, could feel the weight of the moment. They had seen the devastation the Calthor had caused, and they had witnessed the power of the apex predator. Now, they had to make sure that their final assault would not fail. The Calthor leader stepped onto the battlefield, his powerful form towering over the other soldiers. His eyes locked onto the apex predator as he raised his blade. The two creatures, one human and one alien, were the last barriers standing between Earth and total victory. The predator growled, its muscles tensing as it prepared for the fight of its life. The first strike came quickly. The Calthor leader lunged forward, his blade aimed at the predator's throat. But the apex predator was faster. In one fluid motion, it twisted its body and dodged the strike, narrowly avoiding the deadly weapon. The Calthor leader stumbled forward, unbalanced by the missed attack, but he quickly recovered, spinning to face the creature again. The humans, watching from a distance, held their breath. They knew that the Calthor leader was powerful, but they also knew that the apex predator was the key to their survival. If the predator fell, the humans would lose their greatest ally. But if the predator triumphed, the Calthor would be defeated, and Earth would be free. The battle between the Calthor leader and the apex predator was a clash of titans. The Calthor warrior was fast, his blade flashing in the air as he attempted to land blow after blow. But the apex predator was just as quick, its movements graceful and deadly. It swiped with its claws, its teeth gnashing as it tried to bite through the Calthor's armor. The two fought with incredible ferocity, neither giving an inch. The predator's rage was unstoppable. Every time the Calthor leader attacked, the beast retaliated with brutal force. The Calthor leader, though powerful, was beginning to show signs of exhaustion. He had never faced anything like this before, a creature that fought with such primal fury, a creature that could match his strength and speed. For the first time, the Calthor warrior began to realize the true nature of Earth's greatest weapon. This was not just a predator, it was a force of nature, a creature that had been forged by the planet itself to survive against all odds. The Calthor leader's blade struck again, but this time, the predator caught it in midair with its massive paw. The beast's claws dug into the blade, snapping it in two. The Calthor leader's eyes widened in disbelief. He had never encountered a creature that could disarm him so effortlessly. In that moment of hesitation, the apex predator launched itself at the Calthor leader. With a powerful swipe, it sent the alien crashing to the ground. The leader struggled to get up, but he was no match for the predator's strength. The apex predator stood over him, its eyes glowing with triumph as it prepared to deliver the final blow. But just as the predator was about to strike, a strange sound filled the air. It was a hum, a low vibration that resonated through the ground. The humans, hidden in their positions, looked at each other in confusion. What was happening? Had the Calthor sent reinforcements? Were they about to lose their chance at victory? The apex predator paused, its ears twitching as it turned toward the sound. For a moment it seemed to hesitate, its focus shifting from the Calthor leader to the source of the strange noise. The Calthor leader, now on his knees, saw an opportunity. With all his remaining strength, he reached for a hidden weapon strapped to his side, a device capable of emitting a powerful electromagnetic pulse. He pressed the button, sending a shock wave through the area. The pulse struck the apex predator directly, temporarily paralyzing it. The humans gasped in horror as they watched the beast collapse to the ground, its muscles twitching uncontrollably. The Calthor leader smiled, thinking he had won, but he had underestimated Earth's will to fight. The humans, now fully aware of what had happened, sprang into action. They had seen the pulse disrupt the predator, but they also knew it wasn't enough to defeat it. The creature was resilient, and it had the strength to recover. As the Calthor leader advanced, ready to finish the predator off, the humans launched a counterattack. They unleashed all the weapons they had, drones, missiles, and energy blasts, focusing their fire on the Calthor leader and his device. The Calthor leader turned, realizing too late that the humans had not given up. The pulse had been enough to stall the predator, but it hadn't destroyed it. And now, the humans were closing in. In a final act of desperation, the Calthor leader reached for his weapon one last time. But before he could fire, the apex predator rose from the ground, its eyes filled with rage. It pounced on the Calthor leader, its powerful claws sinking into his armor. The battle was over. The Calthor leader was no longer a threat. With one last roar, the apex predator crushed the leader's weapon, ensuring that Earth would not fall to the Calthor. The humans cheered, their voices rising in unison. Earth had won. The Calthor forces, now broken and leaderless, began to retreat, their invasion a failure. The apex predator had become more than just a beast. It had become the symbol of Earth's strength and resilience. The humans had fought together, and they had won. As the Calthor retreated into space, the humans stood tall, knowing that their world was safe. The apex predator, victorious, disappeared into the wilderness, having completed its mission. Earth had fought back, and no one would ever forget the lesson it had taught the universe. The Calthor fleet had retreated, their last remaining ships vanishing into the cold void of space. The battle was over. Earth had survived. Humanity stood victorious, but the victory was bittersweet. The destruction left in the wake of the invasion was immense. Cities were in ruins, landscapes scarred, and many lives had been lost. The cost of survival had been high, but it had been worth it. Earth had fought back, and now the planet was free. As the humans gathered in the aftermath of the battle, they couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. The apex predator, once a mere legend, had played a crucial role in their survival. It had fought alongside them, tearing through the Calthor forces with unmatched strength. But now, it was gone, disappearing into the wilderness, as if it had fulfilled its purpose and no longer needed to remain. Some humans believed that the predator had always been a guardian of Earth, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. And now that moment had passed. In the cities, the survivors began to rebuild. The damage was extensive, but the people were determined to restore what had been lost. The military forces worked alongside civilians to clear the rubble, repair broken infrastructure, and provide aid to those who had been affected by the invasion. It was a time of healing, but also a time of reflection. The humans knew that the Calthor could return at any time. They had learned that their world was not as safe as they had once believed, but they also knew something else. They were not helpless. As they worked to rebuild, the memory of the apex predator lingered in the minds of every human. The creature had been a symbol of their strength, a reminder that Earth was not a planet to be conquered. It had been the protector, the defender, and the embodiment of the planet's will to survive. Some believed that the creature would one day return should Earth face another threat. Others hoped it would remain in the wild, never to be seen again. But all agreed on one thing. Humanity had learned an important lesson. The Calthor Empire had underestimated Earth. They had believed that their advanced technology and powerful armies could easily subdue the planet, but they had not counted on the strength of Earth's creatures, the intelligence of its people, or the will to fight that burned in every human heart. Earth had not been the weak, isolated planet the Calthor thought it was. It had been a sleeping giant, waiting for the moment to rise and defend itself. And when that moment came, it had struck back with a force that no invader could have predicted. In the days that followed, the world's leaders gathered in the capital to discuss what had happened and what needed to be done. The invasion had united humanity in a way that no one could have foreseen. The divisions between nations had disappeared, replaced by a sense of global unity. The humans realized that they had to work together to ensure that Earth was never again caught off guard. They needed to be prepared, to build up their defenses and to stay vigilant, but the lessons of the past were not forgotten. The humans knew that they had to honor the memory of the battle and the sacrifices that had been made. Monuments were built in cities across the planet, commemorating the fight against the Calthor and celebrating the strength of Earth's defenders. Statues were erected in honor of the apex predator, the symbol of their survival. People gathered in ceremonies, remembering the creatures of Earth and the courage of the humans who had stood alongside them. The apex predator, although never seen again, had left an indelible mark on the human heart. Some believed that it was still out there, hidden in the forests or the mountains, waiting for the next time Earth needed its protection. Others thought that the creature had faded into legend, its role complete. But no matter what the humans believed, they knew one thing for sure. Earth was no longer the vulnerable, weak planet it had once been. It had stood up, fought back, and won. And now, Earth was stronger than ever. Across the world, humans resumed their daily lives, but they did so with a new sense of purpose. They had seen the power of their world, the strength of their people, and the incredible force that lived within the creatures of Earth. They understood that they were not alone. They were part of a larger ecosystem, one that included not only humans but also the animals, plants, and landscapes that had always been a part of Earth's history. The Kalthor had learned that Earth was not a world to be trifled with. They had expected an easy victory, but what they found was a planet that fought back with everything it had. The apex predator, along with the humans, had sent a clear message to the galaxy. Earth was not a place to conquer. It was a place to respect. Years passed, and the world gradually healed. The scars of war faded, but the lessons of the past remained. Humanity was stronger, more united, and more aware of the dangers that lurked beyond their world. They had faced a powerful enemy and emerged victorious, and they would never forget the lessons they had learned. They would always remember the apex predator, the creature that had helped them defend their home. It had shown them the power of their world and the strength of their spirit, and in doing so, it had ensured that Earth would always stand strong. No matter what challenges lay ahead, the humans knew that their journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast, and there would be other challenges, other threats. But they were no longer afraid. Earth had proven that it could survive, that it could fight, and that it could win. And as long as the memory of the apex predator remained in their hearts, the humans would always be ready to defend their home. And so, the story of Earth's survival became a legend, passed down from generation to generation. It was a story of strength, unity, and resilience. It was a story of how humanity, alongside the creatures of Earth, fought back against an invader that thought they could conquer the planet. But in the end, it was Earth that stood victorious. The apex predator had been their protector, and humanity had been their own savior. Together, they had shown the galaxy what Earth was truly capable of, and the universe would never forget it.